what is up? How are you doing? I hope you are doing well. So today's video is going to be a tutorial on this look. This is actually the look I did for prom, and my prom was like a month and a half ago. Yeah, like a month and a half ago, and I had so much fun. And I got a ton of compliments on my makeup, so I thought I would do a tutorial on it to show you guys how I achieved this look. This also is just a really nice glam look that I love in general. It's a half cut crease, and the cut crease isn't hard to do at all. It may take some practice, but that's literally it. Oh, I'm getting texts. But yeah, like I said, I really love this look. It's super neutral and glam, and the glitter just adds so much to it. I'm really touching my hair. I need to stop. But yeah, that is it. If you want to see how to get this look, then just keep on watching. So this is the eye look we are gonna do. So yeah, I just need to like refresh my memory real quick on this look. So now that I did that, let's get started. By the way, I'm not naked. My shirt is just off the shoulder. Okay, so we're going to start with priming our eyes, and I'm going to be taking the Tarte Tape Shape Concealer in the shade Light Neutral, and then spreading that all over my eyes with this Sephora concealer brush. Next, I'm just going to set the concealer with my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder and using this Real Techniques setting brush. And something I've learned while doing this step is that you really want to make sure that you put not like a ton of powder on, but like you put powder on your eyes, or else your eyeshadow will crease throughout the day, and that just is not a pretty look. So for the In Transition shade, I'm going to be combining two colors. One is from the Kat Von D eye palette, and then the other is from the Modern Renaissance palette. So I'm going to be combining Latinas and the color Golden Ochre from the Modern Renaissance palette, like I said. So the camera I currently use, I have to do all the focusing myself. Like, it doesn't focus on its own. So that makes filming my videos really hard when I'm by myself. So I always pray to God that I'm in focus. And if not, I have to refilm the entire tutorial all over again. And you know, that's just always really fun. And take your time building up your colors. And that's just an overall statement for this entire look, because it's easier to build up than to understate your look after you've gone like really pigmented. Next, I'm going to be going in with the color Raw Sienna from the Modern Renaissance palette and using that as our second transition shade. I really like to layer colors when I do blended out looks, just so everything does look super blended and not just like a color on top of another. Okay, so next, going back into the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye Kit, I'm going to be going in with the shade Soulless right here, and I'm just going to be focusing this on the outer corner of my eye and sort of bringing it into the crease and then just like blending it all out. You'll see. And then I'm just going to be going back in with that original blending brush and just blending that brown out, just so nothing is too harsh. And this is just with any look in general that I do, once I apply color, I blend it out. Next, going back into the Modern Renaissance palette, I'm like switching in this look. We're going to be taking the color Cypress Umber, and we're going to be focusing that mostly on the outer V/outer corner of the eye, slightly, like even less than we did with the previous color, slightly bringing it into the inner corner, like the first third of the eye. Next, I'm going to be going back in with a brush that we used for the last shade. I'm blending that color out. And I'm going to do this maybe one more time with that darker color, just to get the right amount of pigment that I want. Okay, so next is the exciting part. We're going to be doing the half cut crease. So I'm going to be using the Stila little, like, what are these called? So for the half cut crease, I'm going to be taking the Stila Magnificent Metals, and I'm taking the shade Kitten Karma. I use this literally all the time because it's so freaking easy to use and it's so pretty. So we're just going to be creating I didn't mean to flip you off there. We're going to be creating a half cut crease. This is really easy for beginners. If you just like need help with a cut crease, get this. Anyways, we're just going to be doing a half cut crease, like I've said for the 10 millionth time. So when you use these, you really have to be careful with like opening and closing your eye because it will transfer up above, which I accidentally just did. Oh, I gotta fix it. Now moving on to eyeliner, I'm just going to be creating a fairly long and thick wing, not too long, not too thick, but also not small and thin. So yeah, and I'm just going to be using the Kat Von D tattoo liner in the shade Trooper. So then last thing for the eyes, I'm going to be taking the color Shack and putting that in the deepest corner slash like deepest part of the eye. So to highlight the brow bone, we are going to be taking the shade Vermeer, and we are just going to be placing that on the high points of our brow. So to make the pigment or like the eyeshadow just a little more pigmented, I'm going to be taking some MAC Fix Plus. So before I do my eyelashes, I'm going to prep them with the Maybelline Big Shot Mascara. So then for lashes, I'm going to be taking the Cocoa Lashes in the style Goddess. And then to blend the lashes together, I'm just going to be taking the mascara again. Okay, so moving on to the face, to prep, I'm going to be taking the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. Freaking love this stuff. Next, to also prep the skin, slash priming, I'm going to be taking the Milk Blur Stick and putting it in the T-zone area of my face. This really minimizes your pores and makes them look not there, which is really awesome. I like it. I'm actually going to put on a bit more. I feel like I didn't get that much. So to prime the face, I'm going to be going in with the Too Faced Hangover RX Primer and just, you know, putting it on. So wait till that gets like a little bit tacky until you put on your foundation. So for foundation, I'm going to be taking the Makeup Forever Ultra HD stick, and I'm in the shade 153, which is Y405. And then something I've been doing, I did not grab the brush because that's my life. Something I've been doing is taking a foundation brush and then going around the edges of my eyebrows. And it just keeps your eyebrows looking really, really clean. And then to blend just my foundation out in general, I'm going to be taking this Real Techniques, I can't talk. I'm going to be taking the Real Techniques buffing brush. For concealer, I'm actually going to be taking two concealers, but they're both the same type of concealer, just different shades. So I'm taking the Tarte Shape Tape, and the first shade I'm taking is light medium, and I'm just going to be highlighting my under eyes and my T-zone. And then I'm just going to be blending that out with my Beauty Blender. So before I go in with my next shade of concealer, I'm going to be taking this Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops in the shade Moonlight. And I'm just going to be putting it on the bud thing of my beauty blender and dabbing it into the high points of my cheeks. Okay, so going in with the next shade of concealer, this is in the shade Light Neutral. I just like to do 3 little strokes underneath the eyes, and then 1 on the forehead, all along my nose, and then my cupid's bow and chin. So I am going to bake, and I'm just going to be using my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. What is new? And then I'm just gonna like sort of pat it into the rest of my skin with this little powder puff, because we are going to be like putting on bronzer and stuff, but you want to make sure that you're not putting the bronzer and stuff on dry skin. Like, well, not dry skin, skin that isn't set, like powder. Oh my god, I can't speak. You want to make sure you're not putting your bronzer on places that aren't set yet so that it doesn't look patchy. So now I'm going to wipe away the bake with this Wet n Wild contour kit, and I'm taking the shade Dulce de Leche. So before we do anything else on the face, we're going to go back to the lower lash line / the eyes. And first we're going to highlight our inner corner, so we're just going to be going back in with the shade Vermeer. We're going to be first taking the shade Raw Sienna and using that sort of as the like lower lash line deal. And then we're going to be going in with the shade Cypress Umber. Okay, now time for bronzer. We are going to be going in, where is it? So for bronzer, I'm going to be using this Bobbi Brown bronzer in the shade Golden Light 1. And then to actually contour, I'm going to be going in with the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. And I'm going to be taking the shade Subconscious. Next, we are going to chisel the contour. So I'm just going to be going in with my translucent powder. So while that is baking, I'm going to be putting on some blush. And I'm taking the Too Faced Love Flush in the shade Baby Love. Putting it on the apples of my cheeks. And then next, we are just going to wipe that all away. Totally forgot to put mascara on my lower lash line, so I'm going to do that real quick. So then for highlighter, I'm going to be starting off with the Becca Champagne Pop Highlighter. And I'm just going to be putting it on the high points of my cheeks and a little bit above my brow. So then real quick, we are going to spray our entire face with some Fix Plus and let that do its thing. And while that is happening, I'm going to open up the Artist Couture Diamond Glow Powder in the shade Cocoa Bling. And then I'm just going to put some on the tip of my nose. That is something I noticed in my prom pictures. My nose looked like Rudolph, but not red. And then the last thing is going to be lips. So I'm going to line my lips and fill in my lips with the Candy K Liquid Lipstick by Kylie Cosmetics. And then finally, I'm just going to spray my entire face with the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. Okay guys, so that is it for this look. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I freaking love this look, and I will variate the colors I use all the time with this look. Like, this is basically what I did for my birthday, just different color tones. But yeah, I really love this look. I hope you guys do too. Please make sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and comment down below and let me know. And yeah, if you aren't already part of the royal family, subscribe down below and join. I would love to have you. We would love to have you. And yeah, that is it. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!